Hello, beautiful goddesses. Welcome to the Abundant Empath community. If you are new here, please say hello, drop something in the comments, let us know that you're here, let us know where you're from. We love to welcome our new members. And today I am super excited. Thank you to all of you who voted in the poll. And if the one that you wanted to hear about today did not get selected, continue to vote because, as you know, I do a couple of these videos every single week. So there is so much more to come. Today, we're going to dive right into it. We are talking about how to become an emotional alchemist. Okay, so first of all, let's talk a little bit about what does that actually mean, emotional alchemy. So alchemy is the process by which one thing is completely and magically transformed into another. And you as an empath have a beautiful gift, and that is you have the potential to become an emotional alchemist. And I'm going to explain to you why you have the aptitude, you have the leg up on the average Joe on this one. And the reason is because we as empaths, we are sensitive souls. You've maybe heard me say before, our sensitivity is our superpower. So because you have this ability to feel and to feel deeply and your heart space is open, we're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. Assuming your heart space is open, right? You have this amazing opportunity because you are feeling, and everything is energy. Your emotions are energy. So the more we feel, the more aptitude and opportunity we have to transform those emotions into something that's magical and powerful and will serve you. Okay? So there's actually two things that happen to us. There's sort of two extremes that can happen to us happen for us, I should say, as empaths before we really learn how to master this art of emotional alchemy. And I'm going to share both of them with you in the context of the frame of my life because this was really my story. So for most of my life, because I realized from the time I was a little girl, I was very, very sensitive. Right? And so what happens when you're a very sensitive young soul and you don't know what to do with that, you start to turn that off. And so I stopped feeling, I stopped honoring, I stopped acknowledging my emotions. I didn't know what to do with them. I completely became this sort of like blank slate when it came to my emotions, and I was all in my head, not at all in my heart and in my emotions. As I grew older and older, this happened more and more, and I started to stuff. It's not that I wasn't feeling the emotions, it's that I wasn't processing them. So I was stuffing and stuffing and stuffing. And then, my dear sisters, I went through my spiritual awakening process. I started doing meditation. I started doing very deep chakra meditation. And everything that I was packing in and storing and stuffing, it all started to come out through this process of unlayering, as I like to call it. So this sacral chakra, where that womb space, where we tend to hold our emotions as women, I was feeling it. I could visually see it. It was stuck. And the more I began to meditate and to unpack and to allow and give myself permission to feel, it's like the emotions overcame me. And then I moved toward the complete other side of the spectrum. And it was like I was feeling everything that I had not allowed or given myself permission to feel. It was sadness, it was guilt, it was, depression even. It was anger. That was something I never experienced until after I went through my spiritual awakening. It was like that was something that was completely off limits. So the anger was just stuffed down, stuffed down, stuffed down. So all these things start to come out. And this was approximately 2+ year process of me being on this emotional roller coaster, right? And it didn't matter if it was a transit that was causing it. It didn't matter if it was something that happened at work or a relationship type thing. Like Kesley was on this ride of her life when it came to her emotions for about 2+ years. And I quite honestly, quite frankly, I was doing all the things, right? I was doing all the spiritual work. I was doing the meditations, I was doing the Reiki, I was doing the journaling, I was doing the spiritual stuff. But it wasn't helping when it came to balance in my emotions. There were certain things over the course of time that started to lead me down the right direction, but it all came down to me, quite frankly, getting sick of my own bullshit and being like, I am sick of crying all the time. I am sick of getting in my own way. I'm sick of feeling like this. I want to be happy. I want to, because that's how this whole spiritual journey started, was with me wanting to authentically feel joy and freedom and love and happiness and passion and pleasure and creativity and all those beautiful emotions. If you're in that space now, let me hear from you, right? Is that something you would like, to get off the emotional roller coaster and be able to maintain a state of high vibration emotions? I had been reading a book, and it talked about the master and mastery, right? And the master of alchemy, the master of the universal laws, is able to hold oneself in a very high vibration position. That is what I wanted. And I was not finding the answers, honestly, through the spiritual journey in the way that I had been doing it. I got sick of my own bullshit. The universe brought me a very specific transit. I'll never forget this. Pluto, the planet Pluto, moves very, very slowly. It sat on my Mercury, which is your mind, my mind, in my fourth house, which is the deepest part of ourself, for about a year, over a year. And this was the transformation process. This is when I learned the true power of emotions. This is when I learned that the emotions are not the enemy. The emotions are not the problem. Being sensitive is not an issue at all. It is a gift. It is a superpower. But we as empaths have got to learn how to transmute, transform, and become emotional alchemists. And it may not happen through some of the traditional kind of empath methods. What I realized was that the enemy, the challenge, the issue, the barrier was not the emotions, sisters. It was my mind. It was my mind, right? I've been doing so much work around the spiritual and the heart and opening the emotions, and we need all of that because the heart and the mind need to be working together, right? But we as empaths need to become more than anyone else, because we are so sensitive, we are so powerful, and we have such a big mission in this world. We, more than anyone else, have got to learn to master the mind, because we're going to feel. And in order to be an emotional alchemist, we've got to be able to transform and transmute the stories in our minds, right? It wasn't the emotions that were causing the issue. It was, I would feel something and then I would create this story and this projection in my mind. It was like the emotion would not just be something I would feel, it would overcome me. It would take over my personality and my identity and over my ability to take action and think clearly. And then this emotion would take over my mind, and my mind would just create these crazy stories, right? In this future state that wasn't even realistic, wasn't even true, wasn't even reality, because I didn't know how to work with my mind. I didn't know how to tap into and tune into the energy of the emotion and move it through my heart, transmute it, sit with it, allow the power and the energy to move through me in such a deep and spiritual way that then it was like my heart and that emotion and that energy from that alchemized, that transformed state was moving my mind. It was creating more empowering stories. It was moving me from fear and doubt and depression and sadness and being a victim. That's what I was doing to myself, right? Being a victim. It was transforming. I was able to get my heart to move into such a high vibration place that it overcame my mind, and I was able to train my mind to work for me, right? The mind is a beautiful and wonderful servant, but it's a lousy master. And when our emotions are taking control of us, our mind is actually, we think it's the emotions, it's our mind. It is the stories we're creating, it is the stories that we're telling. We're living in old beliefs, we're allowing the past to project into the future. It is not the emotion that is the problem. It is the stories that our mind has created, and that's not a permanent problem. This is something that can be fixed and can be transformed, and that when we reprogram our brains and we connect with our hearts and get our hearts and our minds in coherence, that is when we can become an emotional alchemist. That is how it happens. But number one, it starts by getting sick of your own bullshit and recognizing we don't have to be on the emotional roller coaster, right? Number two, it comes from acknowledging how powerful these emotions are. And number three, it comes from committing. The third step in emotional alchemy is committing to the process of I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to be the type of person who can hold myself in that high vibration state. And the tools, the specific tools, that is what you learn in my coaching program, The Abundant Empath. I would love to invite you to consider exploring this more, changing your life, becoming a true emotional alchemist where you are in control of your mind. You are able to flow, allow the emotions to flow through you. It's so beautiful in life when we can give ourselves permission, we can fully feel, and we can know that every single emotion that we feel is welcome and powerful. And the more we allow it to move through us, but not act on it, not react to life, but allow it to move through us, allow it to be transformed through our heart space, and then responding to life from that place, right? Well, something we all secretly crave is that control, right? It's that control over the outcomes of our life, the control over what feels like things that are out of our control in our lives. What we all want is that control, but we also want that freedom. Emotional alchemy is that beautiful and perfect balance. And this can be learned and taught and mastered, my sister. And you have a special gift as an empath because you have all this fuel, all of this energy, all of these emotions that are within you and that you're taking in, and all of those are just waiting to be transformed and transmuted, and for you to become this beautiful emotional alchemist who can then use this as a superpower in your life to manifest everything that you desire. Your emotions are the key to it all. Being able to, as I said, hold yourself in that vibration that is aligned with what it is that you want to attract. That is the key to it all. So sisters, if you are ready, let's do this. No more roller coaster. No more days and days. Don't get me wrong. There are still moments and times when I feel the sadness, I feel the depression, I feel the frustration, I feel the anger, I feel all those things. But the key and the difference from where I was then and where I am now is that I can so quickly allow it to move through me. I can so quickly transform it. And that's what you'll learn. That's what so many of the women who are already a part of this beautiful group have learned. How to transmute, transform, alchemize, and then use the energy to fuel and hold yourself in a higher vibration, which is going to attract everything that you want. Money, bam. Relationships, bam. New career, bam. Right? All the things. I was just talking to a beautiful client of mine this morning, and we were looking back. She's already manifested an amazing relationship through exactly this process that I'm talking to you about, right? And the manifesting principles that I teach. Already manifested like her perfect dream relationship. Now she's ready to manifest new job, new career, like moving to Europe, like this beautiful, beautiful life. And it starts by learning and mastering this. And it can happen super, super fast. Let's make it happen for you. The first step is that Abundant Empath activation session where we sit down, we get clear on what it is that's holding you back, what's blocking you, those toxic patterns that you're like, why isn't this coming together? Why isn't this happening? Why am I feeling this way? We get rid of those. That's what we do in the first part of the call. And then we move into your vision. We create a beautiful, abundant empath vision that is unique to you, that lights you up. And then we talk about how you are going to take the steps to get there and how we might work together. Let's sit down. Let's chat. I posted the link. And I would love to see you very, very soon. Blessings, my dear sisters. Thank you for watching today. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. Tag me. If there's anything you really want to hear about here in this group, let me know about it. Send me a DM, post something in the comments. I'm here to serve and support you. I love you all very much. I am honored to be on this journey for you. And I will see you again later this week. Have a good one, y'all.